Greetings, Keishlings. Keishan Prime here with my review of Attack on Titan, Chapter 96, The Gate of Hope, which had some significance to the title. I didn't even make the full connection when I did my live reaction for it. But a few things did become clear and other things not so clear. Overall, I'd probably reevaluate my score from a 3 to at least a 3.5. Because some of it was just rehashing of things that we already knew towards the end there, just from a different angle, kind of like Back to the Future 2, when Marty, the one from the first movie, is seeing himself from the first movie, just different perspectives. So, yeah. Anyway, the chapter starts off. It reveals Reiner, Annie, and Bertolt. They ran away after Marcel's death. They didn't want to die from the Titans. And he was by himself at the time Reiner was. So, all the realization is starting to hit him. It's like, oh God, were the others eaten? Excuse me. I'm all burpy. And it's like, will I be next? And then, eventually Annie and Bertolt do show up, and Annie just starts kicking the shit out of him. But she does compliment him on his speed of running away. Apparently that's the one thing he's better than her. She also explains that had they not run away, they could have possibly recaptured the Titan that now has the Jaw Titan's power. And she got caught up with the flow of things, and that's part of the reason why she ran away. And then she starts crying, lamenting Marcel's death. To be honest, she's shown more emotion in this one chapter than I think we have seen her do the whole series combined. Stuff all in my throat right now. Figures. Alright. Let's see. Reiner mentions that he was surprised there were Titans around. This is kind of a pretty stupid thing in my point of view. Because it's like, you're on an island of Titans. Your people send the Titans over here. Why do you think you wouldn't see them? And he scolds him, and saying that, like, what did you expect them to not be near the walls? And Bertolt chimes in and is like, well, we learned that not all Titans act the same. So, okay. Really, this chapter and the one where Bertolt said you have like a large amount of loyalty. It's like you're really starting to see their friendship really starting to strengthen. In just a few, little moments like that. Let's see, where did I leave off? Annie devises a plan real quick to recapture the Jaw Titan again. And seeing as it probably returned back to its human form by now, and then they're going to return home, seeing as apparently Marcel was their leader. I don't remember them ever mentioning who was the leader of their group, if there was a leader. To be honest, considering what little we know of Marcel, I would think Annie would be the leader. I mean, she's the one coming up with these plans. Excuse me. But, yeah, I'm just sorry about all the bodily functions that keep messing me up. But, yeah, she seems better fit for the job, kind of cool under pressure and whatnot. Anyway, Reiner has a memory of his mother, and, he wants to continue on with the mission to make her wishes come true and all that. But, Annie confirms to Reiner or at least Reiner himself can't return, because they would just replace him. Because he failed. He lost one of their own, so that ain't gonna work. Reiner retorts that are you sure I'm the only one that they would, replace? Which then scares the crap out of the other two, because, yeah, that's a real possibility. Reiner says getting the Jaw Titan back would be hard due to its speed, and Bertolt thinks it can't use its power yet. But Reiner's quick to point out that Bertolt himself was a quick user of his power when he got it. So now, and then just kind of goes into a frantic rant that either they retrieve the Titan or return home, or they're done for without any form of success. Annie, enraged at this situation, starts wailing on Reiner again, telling him he will explain it all to Magath. I never could figure out how to pronounce that name. And that Reiner will take full responsibility for it. And that some of what she was saying was just kind of all over the place. She's saying, like, the Marleyans and the Eldians, they're all liars, and fuck them both. That was funny. And that she's the same because she only looks out for herself like they do. And Reiner should have died, and that she wants to go home. And then he tackles her and saying he's dead, which this is kind of a weird moment. I don't know if it was just mental deterioration for the situation and how it escalated so quickly, or what. I'm not fully sure. And then he was like, I will become Marcel. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm not too big into psychology, but I'm sure if anyone is, they might figure out what that's all about. Or maybe I'm missing something completely obvious. Let's see. Later, it shows Bertolt and Reiner riding on Annie in her Titan form, being chased after by a horde of Titans. And we find out that they were supposed to have done a rotation between Jaw and female Titans to conserve on energy and stamina and all that stuff on the journey to the wall. Well, obviously, that's not happening right now, so she's exhausted. But luckily, the wall is in sight. So Reiner switches out for the last leg of the trip. And then once they finally make their way pretty close to the wall, which I have a few things wrong with that, and I never realized it until now. No one was watching when all of this stuff was happening. You think there's supposed to be a guard patrol or something on the wall. And Bertolt goes in to, destroy the wall, or technically the wall and the gate. So he transforms, he destroys it, and we kind of get like different angles, like I mentioned before, retelling the first parts of the chapter. Technically it was the first full chapter. Was the day the Titans, really screwed up what little world the humans thought they had. Yeah. And I had a bit of a problem with the flashbacks because they were like messing up how I thought of the timeline, and I thought this was a different moment than that, so I was just being stupid. But Reiner actually sees the smiling Titan, and it was going towards the gate, and he feared for Bertolt's life because he had turned back by that point. And but she just kind of passes by without incident. We know where that's going now, don't we? Long-time readers. Reiner scales the wall, and like I mentioned before, no one saw any of these transformations. There's no guard patrol, nothing. Because even when he was up on top of the wall, sure, they're probably heading in now that the Titans are flooding in, but still, no one saw anything before now. I mean, we've seen them have like telescopes and whatnot, so surely they saw all the Titans when they were way off in the distance, running towards them. Stupid. But anyway, also I would have thought that Bertolt, if he was like a little further away from the wall and just like transformed and let his steam destroy even more of the wall and gate, Sorry about the background noise if it's even picking up on my mic. But I would think that would be more effective, and the steam would cover him up so no one would see him, much like he had in the past parts of the series. Anyway, after getting inside, Reiner has an internal monologue about why Marcel saved him, how he should have died, and that he wanted to fulfill his mother's wishes, but what she wanted couldn't happen, the whole father being a Marleyan and she's an Eldian, child, it don't work, it's illegal. But Annie wakes up sometime later. They're in a shelter, and they're about 15 feet away from Aaron's group, which I thought was kind of funny. It's like these two trios of characters. They're from different worlds, but they're like so close together, and they actually do ally themselves in a way, but now they're obviously enemies again. And technically always were, but have to play the roles they were given. But and Reiner promises to Marcel that he will become a true warrior. And then again, sometime later, the three are listening to a man's story of how he learned of the gate's destruction. Like, it was the middle of it was like right before dawn. The news hadn't reached them yet because they're a little outskirt village that doesn't even show up on the map, apparently. And, like, he woke up because, like, the animals were restless, and he opens the window, and there's a Titan right in the window. And they had escaped, and they left 3 kids behind, and all that stuff, and that was horrible, because later we find out that he hung himself, though I suspect because Reiner was not present at the time, he might have been the one that hung him after hearing that story, so we'll see if that actually gets revealed or not. But yeah, Bertolt and Reiner are removing a stump and talking about King Fritz and how he's a stand-in along with his whole family, and that the Eldians took control of Walsena 100 years ago. And then Annie offers up, which I assume she's the one who's actually giving them the information, because they mentioned the only ones who are allowed to go in and out of Walsena at this point are women. And she offers up that, like, maybe I can be hired as a servant, or maybe I'll seduce one of the men to find out stuff. But figures it's impossible because the military's kind of like up security and whatnot. No servants are allowed to be hired and whatnot, so yeah. And then it was kind of a funny thing that she also figured she just didn't have the charm to actually be anything attractive to one of the random dudes. But Bertolt thinks, no, that's wrong. So I'm wondering, would there have been a romance between the two of them had he lived, and her not being a crystal? We'll never know. But let's see. I always lose my place. Anyway, it leaves them with only one option. That they become soldiers, and then hopefully they can join the military police, which would be on the innermost parts of the wall, and then it'll get them closer to the founding Titan. Plus, we also find out that all of this is taking place 2 years after they entered the wall, so they have like 8 years left until they die. Annie doesn't like that they would basically be playing soldier, but with their remaining time. But if they destroy the walls, Rose and Cena, the founding Titan's roar would cause a failure, and then ultimately killing everyone within the walls, because if it's like it draws in all Titans, which makes me wonder how powerful is the actual founding Titan. If it's someone that fully knows how to use the power, would it summon all the Titans on the island, or just within a certain range? Because it was like the walls have held up pretty good so far. So, like, how many would it take to bust the wall, really? You know, normal size ones. And then finally, Reiner is telling his commanding officer as a recruit that he's here to save humanity, which I'm pretty sure he's talking about Marley's humanity, not these suckers on the island. But, you know, that's what it is. I'm pretty sure. But I could be wrong. You know, double meanings are everywhere in series like this, so, I mean, and I don't always read so deeply into everything, so, but let me, you know, give me your opinions on it, and let me know what you think. You know, maybe I missed something. I probably miss 1,000 things every video I do, but anyway, thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Keechlings, roll out.